Good morning. Welcome to Leadership Tip Tuesday with Coach Ellis. Hey, if you were seeing me looking all sideways, sometimes you got to be smarter, 10% smarter than the equipment you use. This morning, it was a fail. So, look, this is Leadership Tip Tuesday where I spend just a few minutes talking to leaders, emerging, existing, and exiting leaders about the principles of leadership. And this is good for you whether or not you are a CEO of a major company or the pastor of a small church, whether you're leading your family, you're leading a huge nonprofit. Leadership principles are the same. So look, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy on the podcast was talking about this idea of intent-based leadership. We've heard of values-based leadership, management by objectives. We've heard a lot of these things, but this intent-based leadership I thought was pretty phenomenal. Here's how it works. Most of us work in an environment, most of us lead in an environment, most of us manage in an environment that is demand-based. In other words, those over us demand we do something. We conduct some type of event. We write some paper. We manage some project. Those above us demand something from us, and we comply. Leadership in that vein simply means that we are in an environment where we are expected to comply with the leader whom we presumably have respect and we feel they are competent. That's demand-based leadership. Intent-based leadership is leaders powering down and not making demands. Well, someone's going to ask, Coach, how's that even leadership if you don't make any demands? If you don't tell people what to do, how's that leadership? I'm glad you asked me. This intent-based leadership is based on this idea that folks around you, folks on your team, Lady D, folks in your environment, folks who you've hired are competent, that they are professionals, and that they know what they're doing. So what demand-based leadership intent-based leadership does is say, go do you. Go do what you do. I don't have to tell you to be to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. You know to be there at a reasonable time. I don't have to tell you that you have to proofread your memo before you send it to me. You already know that. What demand-based leadership does, it begins with the presumption that when subordinates bring something to the leader, the answer is no. Because the leader drives the organization and drives work and drives decisions. Intent-based leadership is a bottom-up approach. It begins with the premise that the answer is yes, and that what bubbles up from those who are working, those who are in the process, is a yes. In fact, what it tells us is that we end up pushing authority to the information and not information to the authority. We end up pushing authority down to the point of impact, to those actually working the issue, working the problem, working it. Shift the authority down to them to make decisions. Instead of pushing the information upwards to the authority, to the boss, to the head man in charge, to the manager, so they can make all the decisions. What this does, this gives ownership to those who are making decisions at the lower level. So this impact-based leadership is designed to help others take ownership and pride in their work. In fact, here's what happens. It shifts responsibilities. If I, as the leader, are making all the decisions, you come to me, you don't move unless I say move. I assume responsibility for every decision, and I alone assume responsibility. If you are making decisions, or if I am working for someone and I am at the lower level, I'm at the point of impact, and I'm making decisions, before I go to my boss for something, I've thought it through. I realize that when I go to him or her, that I am signing my name, that the buck really stops with me, because what I bring them, they're going to say yes because they trust me that I've already done my homework. Unless it's crazy or there's something going on I don't know about, I can expect them to say yes. So I go to my boss and say, I intend to do this. I intend to delay production in order to get a better product. So unless the boss has major issues that I don't know about, then I presume the answer is yes. This intent-based leadership allows organizations to allow all those who work there to flourish with their own gifts, talents, abilities, and skills. That you're not capped by the limited thinking of the boss. You're not limited by the lack of vision or the lack of insight or the lack of technical skills of those above you. You are allowed to fully flourish where you are because you are responsible. This intent-based leadership is intended to make you intentional about success and greatness. Hey, this is just a thought. What do you think about it? Leave your comments here or hit me up at coach@elliscrum.net or catch me on Facebook at Coach Ellis. Until next week, have a one-tablet, intentional, intent-filled Leadership Tip Tuesday. God bless you. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.